Hello, everybody out there. This is Kenoshi Abominito with Project Console, episode 47. Aida, Aida the Gold Digger. Um, but before we get into our topics, I'd like my other panelist to introduce himself.
Yo, it's me, Mr. Red Fox, on a provided BS Busters. Let's get to it.
All right. So our first topic is the GTA leak. So over the weekend, or last weekend, GTA got leaked. GTA 6 got leaked. Like the obviously the pre like the development part of it, the conceptualization stages of the GTA 6 project got leaked. So a bunch of video and a bunch of uh, obviously it's pre-production. Obviously, it's in the early stages of development.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but Rock after it got leaked, Rockstar panicked, started pulling things down, as well as the leaker, the guy who leaked it, also leaked some stuff. Also leaked some stuff from Uber, as well as they also leaked GTA source code. So, um, and people were going crazy. People were. Uh, I guess some people were, which is really weird, were upset that the game looked like what it looked like. It's but it's like this is conceptualization stages. This is the beginnings of building the game. Because I saw a video this morning where a guy was bringing it up. So it's weird that you'd have to bring something up about a game ha- that's not even in its final phases of development. But But yeah, what are your thoughts on the GTA leak?
I mean, I kind of said it last night on my cast. Well, I'll repeat it again. I didn't really watch any of the videos about the leak because I don't care. But I mean, just in general, Rockstar's been slipping. They canceled a whole bunch of projects that they were working on. Because of remakes they were working on, allegedly because of the bad reception to their remake they did that they had a cheap ass studio make for
Yeah,
the games that arguably made Rockstar what Rockstar is today. And because people realized that modders made better versions of those games than the studio they paid millions of dollars to make those games did. Um, yeah, Rockstar is trash, and you know, like how can I put this? The uproar about these leaks is the equivalent of someone jangling keys in front of a baby.
yeah.
It's a distraction from what really needs to be talked about. The real
Well,
thing that needs to be talked about is Rockstar capable of releasing a single player game that isn't going to be compromised so that they can prop up an online multiplayer scene? Because they tried to do that shit with Red Dead Redemption 2 and it failed.
yeah,
Game sold relatively well, but they wanted that online money and people weren't playing the online, so or not in the type of droves that they were expecting on like GTA Online did. So I mean,
and Rockstar just like I said in your cast, Rockstar isn't the same Rockstar that people grew up with during the GTA trilogy on the PS2 and Xbox days. Like it's a lot of those
yeah, it ain't.
people have left.
Yeah, it's not happening.
Yeah, so I would not hold your breath when it comes to GTA 6, especially with
Yeah,
what happened with the trilogy. The trilogy, but people
the
say, well,
definitive
that
edition.
yeah,
Here's what I'm
people
gonna say. No, sorry. Go ahead. I cut you off. Sorry.
people people would say, well, that game was farmed out. That was done by a different developer, but that was Rockstar's game. That was
Yeah.
Rockstar's baby. They should have
And
taken
someone at
good care of it.
Rockstar, people at Rockstar who were overseeing that project, checked off on it. Said, "Oh yeah, this is good enough to come out. You can fix it later."
Yeah, this is perfectly fine. Yeah, so
No,
it's
they didn't
just
say it was perfectly fine because if you looked at the original version, you can look at the developer notes that were inside where they're like, "Why are people at Rockstar telling us we need to fix this and this isn't good enough? Fuck it, we're gonna put it out anyway."
yeah,
So and that makes it worse that people at Rockstar were like, "You can't release this like this,"
yeah.
and they did it anyway.
Yeah, they should have fired those people and taking it to a different.
No,
I,
they
uh,
couldn't because they were given like, okay, here's what you need to understand. Okay, 2K, is it Take Two? Take Two. Take Two is the owner of Rockstar. Okay?
yeah,
Rockstar is a small part of that Take Two machine. Okay?
yeah,
So the CEO, so someone at Rockstar, maybe the Hauser who's still the president, said, "Hey, we want to remaster our old games," and like most of their money has probably gone. Most of their budget is probably went into making Red Dead Redemption 2 and the people who are working on GTA 6. Okay,
yeah,
the small group of people who were working on GTA 5's online, like maybe they have a team of people who, because that's where they make a lot of their money. That's their cash cow. Okay, that's their World of Warcraft slash Overwatch slash Call of Duty for Rockstar. But they don't have the manpower. They had to hire people to start working on GTA 6 and
yeah,
retain a lot of their team to work on GTA 6. They didn't have the budget to, and not only the budget, but the people to do that internally. So they hired I used this analogy last night. They went with the lowest bid contractor they could find
yeah,
and were
yeah,
surprised that the lowest bid contractor they could find fucked it up because you know the general prices of things in business or
yeah,
even in life in general. They tell you here's what you expect to pay for these services. Here's what you're paying. And if it's so dramatically less than what you actually should be paying, you're probably getting scammed.
yeah,
Or there's corners being cut that should not be cut. And that's what happened with the GTA. Because don't forget, they had a studio that has proven in the past that they were not good for porting games over. Because they were the ones who ported over GTA San Andreas during the 360 generation. During the
the
uh,
iPhone. They poured it on the
no, it
iPhone.
was the 360 generation. The 360
360.
generation, the PS3 generation, where people were like, "This is a shit port of these games," and they
Yeah,
were. They were piss poor ports. This is the same studio that also ported those same games to. First, they ported them to smartphones.
yeah,
So, and those were piss poor smartphone ports. So, this studio has a legacy of doing piss poor ports. Then you factor in the fact that uh, they were asked to remaster all three of those games, and they only had like 21 to 24 people on staff.
yeah.
I mean, come on, man.
I mean, the part I find funny, why I found the leaks interesting, is mainly just the reaction. Like, yeah, this is a pre-production game. It's really not much to look at, and
Yeah,
plus, do you guys really trust Rockstar at this point? Like,
man. Gamers want shit to bitch about. Just like gamers like just last month we're talking about, oh man, Saints Row reboot sucks. I played the game. It's not perfect, but it's not like, oh my god. Like, okay, the uproar about Cyberpunk 2077 totally deserved. Saints Row 2022, could be better. It's not terrible.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
it's not like, oh my god, I expected this game to be perfect. No,
I
no.
mean, it's absolutely insane. But
Just
yeah,
it's a slow news month, and people want reasons to bitch and complain about shit. That's what it really boils down to.
like I said, there's really not. I mean, obviously, they don't want you to know how the sausage is made. Like, a lot of these companies don't want you to know how they make their sausage, but, I mean, I get it, but there's really not much to look at because it's not like there's it's not like there's a vertical slice out there that's running around, which is showing you sort of a polished portion of the game, a conceptual idea of what the game is going to look like in its final stage. But, it's whatever. It is a slow news month for video games, and it's just something to create a big fuss over.
Yeah.
Anything else on this topic before we move on?
Uh, the only thing I'm going to say is, like I said, it's a slow news month, and people want reasons to bitch. And people aren't paying attention to the real issues, like the fact that Rockstar fucking had a mod. That the only way you can play that mod is by owning a legal copy of the game that it's a mod for. So you're not stealing from them. Because modders put the time, care, and attention to fucking fix their games up and make them more compatible for a modern gaming experience than Rockstar was willing to do to pay people to do. Think about
Well,
that. But you're
so
worried
that
about a fucking leak.
so
For
that
real
GT
gamers?
so that GTA 4 mod that we were talking about,
Yeah,
Alpha, yeah,
yeah.
that's
You're
pretty bad.
people are mad about. Oh, people leaked about a shitty. Look, let's keep it real, okay? GTA is like the Paper Mario franchise. The best games were released years ago, and the ones they've made recently have been kind of underwhelming.
Yeah,
Okay? GTA 4 was kind of blah. GTA 5 was better than 4, but that leap wasn't that great. If GTA 4 was a grade C, like a low C, like a 78, GTA 5 is like a high C, like a 84. That's still a
yeah,
C.
yeah,
I mean, and now here's the thing: if you're a student who's always been getting C's, 84, that's your thing. But I mean, you remember the generation before GTA 5 and GTA 4, Rockstar put out two GTA games that were fucking A's and B's,
yeah,
which is Vice City and San Andreas. And then a fucking step down like GTA 4 and a lateral step with GTA 5. So I don't want to hear that shit about, oh, well, but we're worried about a leak about GTA 6, which is probably just going to be, at best, a little bit better than GTA. Okay, the best we can hope for is that it's going to look prettier than GTA 5, but it's probably, the physics engine underneath it is going to be just as shit. So, just a little bit smoother animation.
yeah. I mean, a game where you shoot and drive a lot, the shooting and driving don't feel particularly good. I mean, that was my experience with GTA 4 and some of the older
So,
games too.
yeah.
It's like,
On console, GTA 4 just feels bad.
yeah, it's just like you do a lot of shooting and you do a lot of driving. You figure they would take, you know, they would tweak
This could
that.
be better.
Yeah, it
Nah,
could be better.
nah. Well, I mean, you remember? Well, you don't. Well, okay. There was this developer who was working at Rockstar, and he basically was gonna make Red Dead Redemption, or I think it was one of the two games. He was gonna make it like he was gonna make it so much like he was gonna make the he was gonna make the shooting like so much better. And I think it was GTA. I think it was Red Dead Redemption, the first Red Dead Redemption, or I should say the second Red Dead game, but the Red Dead game that Rockstar bought the IP from Capcom. But
Yeah,
so basically, like he was like, yeah, I can make the shooting so much better, and like I forget which Hauser brother, the one who was their story guy, says that's not important. Like the story is what's important. That's why. Why do you think the Red Dead games are so fucking boring and not enjoyable?
yeah.
because they're worried about telling you a serious story. They don't give a fuck about gameplay. Now, here's the thing, okay? I know some games nowadays are more bent around pushing a narrative versus gameplay. I mean, hence shit like Last of Us and Last of Us 2, and like because that's what most of Naughty Dog's games have become. Fucking pushing a narrative versus actual real gameplay, and going like Uncharted went from being a shitty Tomb Raider knockoff to being just you go from action set piece to action set piece to action set piece with cutscenes in between.
Yeah.
And Last of Us, oh shit, Last of Us is a mediocre stealth game with kind of underbaked stealth mechanics and combat mechanics, but it's like you're playing a movie. I don't know about you, but I fucking play a movie. If I want to watch a movie, I'll sit my ass down and I'll watch a movie. I have a wonderful theater system with surround sound. I can hook up my TV with I've got a smart. Well, I don't have a smart TV. I have a media server that's internet capable. That I have all the streaming services coming into. That I hooked my TV up to. I can watch anything I fucking want.
Yeah.
Okay? I don't want to play a movie. I want to watch a movie. I play video games. But anyway, yeah. GTA 6 is probably going to be, for some people, like if you loved GTA 5, slow, plodding, weighty cars and shit gunplay, then you're probably going to love GTA 6. Me? I'd rather have Bully 2. But they'd probably fuck that up because it's Rockstar. Anyway, I'm done.
All right. I know you're a lot closer to this franchise than I am, and yeah, it's just sad to see what it's become. But
Yeah.
all right, so LG is making essentially a Android tablet in a handheld Switch Lite form factor that can pretty much. It's designed to stream cloud games, and it's $350 if you don't pre-order it.
So it's an Nvidia Shield.
Yeah, essentially, it's a Nvidia Shield tablet. I don't.
It's a cheaper Nvidia Shield.
Yeah, I don't understand why they're. I guess they just didn't want to put in real work to create hardware that can play games natively, or at least.
You want to know why?
I don't
I'll
know.
tell you why. Because the Switch and the Steam Deck are selling well right now.
Yeah.
That's why. That's
Yeah.
why they're doing it. Because of money! Like that guy in that Disney thing. We've got to have money. It's about money. And diversifying your ability to make money is better. Like you want to have multiple revenue streams and not just one, because if the job you're at starts acting funky, and you don't have the ability to say, "Hey, fuck you," I have other places. Like you always want to have multiple revenue streams, unless your primary job is amazing, right?
Yeah.
And even then, it's nice to have a side hustle just so that, you're still in good shape. And so, yeah, LG is just, they're like, yeah, we can make this shit because, everything will be good.
That's the problem with the handheld market is you know a lot of people are, especially. I guess this was relatively inexpensive compared to some of the other stuff. It's only although it is $50 cheaper than the lowest tier Steam Deck,
Yeah.
but it
I don't think
I
it's
think
going to perform as well. Although
yeah,
LG does have an experience making small form factor electronics, don't forget they also make smartphones.
yeah, yeah,
And that is not a large leap from going to a cell phone, because I've seen ultra large cell phones that are slightly smaller than a Switch or Steam
yeah.
Deck. So it's not that difficult of a leap. to
Yeah.
go. The only thing is, what operating system are they running? Are they running a custom version of Android for the OS for this thing? Because it doesn't need a great operating system because it's going to be streaming shit.
Yeah.
Um, versus, is it going to do something cool? I don't know.
Well, I mean, the yeah, the thing is, you're gonna have to wait until it comes out because to see people get their hands on it and see what it
Yeah,
actually does outside of just streaming. Hopefully,
yeah,
it's
yeah. I don't think all the games on there are going to be streamed. I think for small, simple stuff, you'll probably just be able to download it and then play it natively. But I think the handicap for this is going to be twofold: the specs and what OS is running.
yeah,
Because like when you have a smartphone, when you have a small form factor device for gaming, the bottleneck is going to be the hardware and um, and the OS. Because if you have a laptop or like a decent laptop and a desktop, doesn't matter what OS you put on it because in some cases you put multiple OSs on a laptop or a desktop, and that will change how the system resources are utilized depending on which OS it is. But if this shit's using Windows, oh boy, oh boy, it's gonna be rough. Even if
yeah,
it's streaming via cloud, it's gonna be rough.
yeah, yeah. That's the downside of the Windows tablets, or at least Windows handheld gaming systems, is that they're using Windows. But I mean,
It's not like no. Go ahead.
Yep.
Sorry.
The upside to it, I mean, obviously, when it comes to certain things like emulation, there's not as many workarounds. But again, Windows is a resource hog, and
Yeah,
for having Windows on a little device, like say the Neo Air, well, that's
yeah,
cool. It's your battery life suffers for it.
yeah. The problem with Microsoft is that they won't create a light distro of Windows, like Chrome. Like Chrome OS for smart devices has a light distro that uses the least amount of resources in that build to get the shit you want to run.
Yeah,
Linux has light builds of itself for people who have this shit has to run on something that should have been tossed into the bin 10 years ago. And you can get Linux that'll make it run relatively well. I mean, it's not as good as a modern whatever, but it's good enough. Windows is like, fuck you. We aren't going to do that. You're going to get this bloated piece of shit running on this. And if it doesn't, well, your computer is ineligible to run it.
yeah,
So it's like, Windows, you bastards.
yeah. It'd be kind of nice if they made like a Windows gaming or Windows Lite or something like that.
Not even
Uh,
gaming, just Windows Lite. Like this is Windows Express.
yeah,
Just call it instead of Windows 11, just call it Windows X. Windows Express for people who want a lighter footprint of their system resources being used. So it doesn't have Office, it doesn't have fucking Cortana, it doesn't have voice stuff. It's just the OS. It just you could save your folders. It doesn't come with fucking Windows Media. It doesn't come with their App Store. You want to watch something? Do what everyone else does. Download VLC.
yep,
Because that's what most people do. They just download VLC. Because
yep,
VLC plays everything.
yep, yep.
Like that would be the cool thing, but that's pro consumer. And Microsoft hasn't been pro consumer for a long fucking time.
Oh, that's
Long
true.
time. If ever, to
Yeah.
be 100% honest with you.
Am I interested in this thing? No, not really. No, I mean, there are other Android handheld gaming devices that are better. Uh, like for example, the Iron Odin is an Android device that I've heard pretty good things about, and there's like a plethora of Android gaming handheld devices that you could possibly get for the same price that could do more. So
Yeah, and Android is a derivative of Linux anyway, so whatever.
anything else before we move on to our next topic?
Uh, I mean, for $50 more, you could just get a Switch. I mean,
Yeah,
actually, no, for 50 for the same price, you could get a Switch.
yeah,
For the same price plus tax, you could get a Switch, and if you already have a Switch, you can get another Switch, hack that Switch, and then use it to do all that shit too.
yeah.
Plus, play Switch games. So I don't. Although the Switch kind of runs like ass sometimes too, so you should probably do better just paying the $50 more and getting a
Yeah,
getting a Steam Deck.
yeah. That's the thing about a lot of these handouts too. Is definitely have to temper your expectations because there are a lot of crappy. There are a lot of crappy handouts out there that just have flooded the market.
True.
But not in
I
any
mean,
case.
what
Oh,
I've
go ahead.
learned is if something says it's using a custom OS, you can trust it a little bit more than if it says it's running Windows. If you have a handheld and it says it's running Windows, just be like, nah, no, thank you,
Yeah.
nope, bye, bye.
Yeah, that's one of the downside. That's the biggest downside to these Windows gaming devices is that they they're kind of a pain to set up because you still need a keyboard and mouse to especially uh, on the setup process, as well as if you wanted to say download emulators or set up emulators or other you know other gaming centric stuff. It's it's really just a really small computer and a handheld
How can I put this? No, go ahead. Sorry.
and a handheld factor. But the thing about the Steam Deck, it's got what it's got going for it is obviously the Valve infrastructure, and they
Yeah,
have their own design for the
yeah,
yeah they have their own
Just-
design.
yeah, and it's also using Linux, which means that it's using a version of Linux as the distro for it, which means basically it is because it's using Linux, essentially speaking, um, you know, more of the system resources can be put towards whatever task you have in front of it. Whereas Windows, like a lot of the system resources are being shunted over to other things. Now there are ways around that. Like if you have a Windows PC and you put 32 gigs of RAM in it, that helps.
Yeah,
I'm looking to upgrade to 64 gigs uh, this year. I'm gonna wait till Black Friday though. um, so my point is this: like, there's ways around that, but you shouldn't have to spend $100 to $300 upgrading your PC because your OS uses so much fucking memory.
yeah,
You shouldn't have to do that. That's like someone saying, well, in order to get into my bathroom, there's a hole in the floor, so you got to jump over that hole. Do that to go to use the bathroom at your house. You need to get that shit fixed, man. you know, that type of shit. Um,
or you have a rope over your over the hole that you have to swing over, like in Pitfall
no,
or
just
something like
like I
that.
just got to do all this weird shit just to jump over. Like you shouldn't have to do that.
Yeah,
You shouldn't have to do that type of shit, and that's where I'm like that's my problem with people doing this shit is that they're all like, like, well, if we do this, like, look, man, calm the fuck down.
and typically when you have to fix a certain problem in Windows, there are times when you can't fix it, so you have to do this weird jerry rig thing where you have to tie a rope on the ceiling to swing over the hole. Can't because you can't
Yeah,
actually fix the hole.
yeah.
But
The only time that's acceptable is if you have a treehouse. If you have a treehouse and their kids, like, well, fuck it. The tree grew. Somehow the tree wasn't traumatized by me putting the treehouse in. The tree grew, and shit had to change. But if you
yeah,
are an adult and you own a house or an apartment, like, because everyone has that person in their social group where their house, like, maybe their parents didn't have a lot of money, or shit just wasn't taken care of. And, like, they had a TV that, like, only certain people knew how to make the shit work. Or they have a car where only certain people know how to get the shit to start. It's like, man, don't even ask me to touch your shit, because I don't want to deal with your shit when I fuck it up. I don't deal with that. Like, I don't, I get my shit maintained. I ain't got time to be sitting there worrying about that. But anyway, that's my point. You shouldn't have to go through all of those changes just to get something to work the way it should. And that's the problem with Windows, is that Microsoft has continuously plugged Windows with more and more shit that people don't want.
yeah, yeah,
And it's annoying.
yeah.
And I don't like it. They've got RGB 64 gigabyte memory. Ooh, ooh boy. I'm going to get that. But not right now. I'm gonna wait till Black Friday. I got a month and a half to go. Anyway, I got
Uh,
curious. I was like, I need to see how much that costs. And it's not that bad. But Black Friday, the prices will be cheaper. So
yeah, yeah,
I'm like,
exactly.
I save it up and then I'll dish it out. All right.
All right, for our next topic, EVGA is done with Nvidia.
Yeah,
They basically said we're done.
we're sick of
No
your
more
shit.
working. We're sick of your BS.
Yeah.
We're tired of the nonsense. And right, so that's gonna leave an interesting hole in the in the at least in the GPU market with the major company leaving leaving the industry entirely. But I
Leaving the
mean,
industry. They're just leaving the graphics card industry.
or
Other people
yeah,
pick up the
graphics
slack.
card
Like,
industry.
shit. I think I saw an article where they're like, EVGA is leaving, but all these other companies that make shit, like Gigabyte, is stepping up. So.
Yeah, yeah, you still got Gigabyte, Asus, MSI, Ozotag.
Yeah. So, yeah,
Plenty
I'm
of
not going to be
companies.
like, oh, no, it's not going. Like, come on, man.
It's just they've been around for a while, and you're typically the more popular cards. Aside maybe from Asus, but yeah, they just got tired of the nonsense.
Yeah.
They got tired of dealing with Nvidia not, knowing last minute what was going to happen pertaining to pertaining to the cards that they were going to get, and
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, they left. What are your thoughts on this?
Uh, I mean, you can only take getting fucked over for so long. And that's anything. That's in business, that's in personal relationships, that's in professional relationships. Like, you can only take getting fucked over for so long.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's the and EVGA's been around for over 20 years, and they've had enough. The owner had enough of feeling like they're always getting shafted by Nvidia. Now, Nvidia seems to treat everybody to a similar degree, but
Yeah. They're
they
like,
were the
fuck you. You're here for us. That is
yeah
NVIDIA's mantra. You are here for us.
yeah you exist because of us.
Well, I wouldn't say you exist for front of us, but you exist. You should be happy that we're doing this for you.
Yeah,
And
Um,
that is how they feel. It's like you should be happy we're doing what we're doing. And it's like you're kind of being dicks right now.
yeah, yeah. So on top of that, it gets a little gets even uh, gets even worse. Nvidia had their keynote speech. Was it Tuesday? Yeah, it was Tuesday. Um, Last Tuesday. Ah, they announced their new cards, titled the Ada Loveless cards. They will be releasing the 4080, no, the 4090 October 12th, and the 4080 November. There will be two SKUs of the 4080, um, a 12 gigabyte model and a 16 gigabyte model. So the 12 gigabyte model will cost $899, and then the 16 gigabyte model will cost $1199. So $300 price difference. Uh, tax aside, and then the 4090 will cost $1,600. 4090 is supposedly several times faster than the 3090 Ti and the 4080. Uh, I guess the 4080 can match uh, the 40 or the 3090, and then so that was all well and good until more information about the cards came out. Um, but before we get to that, what are your thoughts on this announcements of what are your thoughts on the announcements of Nvidia's new cards? If you have any.
I mean, I wasn't really paying attention because I'm not an Nvidia man. Uh, Even though I have Nvidia in my laptop and it's like I think it's a 2080. It's a 2080 in my gaming laptop. Um, so I've been on both sides of the spectrum. I have a decent Nvidia graphics card and I have a really good AMD graphics card. And to be honest with you, I really can't tell the difference. It's not really. It was like Nvidia, AMD doesn't fucking matter. They do what I need it to do. Um, Here's what I think. I think from what I heard of the Nvidia cards is you're getting a moderate bump in performance, but at the cost of it's chugging even more power than the last gen cards were.
Yeah,
Um, and I'm like, which means if you get one of these Nvidia cards, you're probably going to have to get a new PSU for your PC if you're putting it into a desktop.
yeah, yeah.
And I mean, PSUs aren't expensive these days, so it's not, that's not the issue. But it's like I would rather them produce things that have the same level of performance as last gen, as the higher end cards, but a lower end power consumption and a lower price tag, like kind of
Right.
like AMD's been doing. Like they'll do a half upgrade where it's just shit that's cheaper than came out last gen, but it has the same performance and uses less power.
Yeah,
Like I don't know. I know Nvidia is like, oh, we're the premium creme de la creme graphics cards, but I mean, is Nvidia really the creme de la creme premium graphics card people, or is Nvidia just kind of like, are
well,
they just like they're the ones who survived? Because there used to be a lot of graphics cards manufacturers.
yeah, because Nvidia and even AMD they swallowed up a lot of them over the
Swallowed or
years.
just survived,
Yeah,
just survived. So I mean,
yeah.
I'm just saying, like, like I just don't want to get. I just am tired of people spending exorbitant amounts of money on bullshit. That's all I'm
Yeah,
saying.
yeah, yeah. I mean it, and the problem is, for the longest time, Nvidia has been sitting on top
Sitting
of a
pretty.
yeah, sitting pretty on top of this high mountain. So they because AMD hasn't necessarily been a big competitor. I mean, maybe more on the lower end to mid tier market they've been a competitor, but not so much on the high end because usually that's usually the stuff that they tend to focus on. They try to push their higher end stuff first, and then as time goes by, they bring out the mid tier stuff. But now that AMD is actually starting to make headway in their even in the higher end, uh, even though
Not. It's still not headway. Like the highest end stuff is still Nvidia's game. It's just the thing is like AMD's highest end stuff uh, in those head-to-head benchmark tests done by independent people, not by the company themselves, is still only able to get like 60% of the performance, 66% of the performance of an NVIDIA card. But, I mean, do you need, like, if you aren't a pro gamer or someone who make a developer, do you need all of that graphical fidelity?
most people don't. They just like
Yeah,
to buy the highest and have the
yeah.
best of the best because that's just
The,
their
yeah,
mindset.
the thing about AMD is that AMD has finally gotten AMD has finally gotten their high end graphics cards to be just enough. They're just enough. They're just good enough that people can play the shit, and it's like, oh, okay, this is good enough.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they've gotten a lot closer than they have been in the past to Nvidia, but at the same time, yeah, it's not.
It's not
They're not.
sustainable.
Yeah.
The problem with Nvidia is that it's not sustainable. You can't always be like, oh, this is the highest shit ever. It's like, it's not really.
So the big controversy that came out of the conference, which we'll go into the next topic, is that the 3080, the two 3080s, are actually significantly different. Um, they have two different cores, so it's not like they just shaved off the RAM size of the 12
Uh huh.
gigabyte model. They actually have a different. It actually has a different core. People are speculating, and by the stuff that I've been hearing, it makes sense that the 4080 12 gig model should have been a 4070, but they couldn't justify charging $900 for a 70 series card, so they decided just to make it a 4080. And so yeah, that's and the thing about it, Jay's Two Cents brought this up, and on the box they don't show, they don't say the CUDA cores. Um, they just show how much RAM was typically on the box and a few of the other features like your GeForce Experience features and stuff like that. They don't show the core, so you're getting a you're you think, well, I'll just go and get the 12 gigabyte model of the 4080 when all reality you're really getting a different card. You're getting a significantly cut down card from the 16 gigabyte model. It's just not the RAM. It's the actual core. So
Yeah, but they've been doing all these companies have been doing that for years,
yeah, yeah.
and not to mention, and I'm just gonna keep this 100%. Not to mention that it's already been said by Intel, AMD, and Nvidia that they're all experimenting on a new way of building their cores for their CPUs, where instead of basically the way it is, instead of just having that die there with the core or cores, it's going to be bits and pieces of silicon designed in a certain way to be able to do certain things. So in the future, you'll be able to have a core on a CPU or a GPU that is specifically geared towards handling certain tasks exceptionally well. Like, so you could have, like, let's say let's say you have a CPU or a GPU that has silicon wafers in it and shit like that that have been specifically designed to be good at handling graphics.
Yeah.
That's all it does. You could have a graphics card that would charge. You would be charged like $2,000 for it, but it's really good at handling graphics. So that wouldn't be good for gaming, but for let's say you're a developer or you work on 3D modeling for movies and shit. That's a card you need for your workstation. Or if you work from home and you do that shit, that's a card you need for your work computer at home. So, I mean, they already said they're going to do this. They're probably starting it commercially now to a degree, and that's why you're getting these cards with like drastically different cores than they already did. I am not going to jump into that pool and be like, oh, they're ripping people off because they might perform. Like I said, most people who are getting Nvidia cards are not going to use all that power.
Yeah.
So as long as these people are getting their 2K or 1080p 60 frames per second solid with all their little shit there, their their ray tracing and all that shit, well, have at it.
I mean, yeah. I mean, that was also brought up too, where there was a past generation of cards which was, you know, where they had a shaved down, uh, shaved down version of a card, but the card ended up performing pretty well anyway, so people just ended up getting over it. So I mean, it could be a similar situation. Like, all right, yeah, it should have been a 4070, but this exceeded our the performance of this card exceeded our expectations, so it
Yeah,
really doesn't matter. I mean, that's
yeah,
a
I'm gonna have to see the
possibility.
performance. Yeah.
Yeah,
Now, if
yeah,
if the performance is shit, then I'm gonna be like, okay, people are getting screwed. But like, you know, it's like if someone said now, "Hey, I bought this car and it used to be 8 cylinders and now it's 6 or 4 cylinders." But the last time it used to be 8 cylinders was like 10 years ago, and like a 4 cylinder car released this year will outperform an 8 cylinder car from 10 years ago.
yeah,
So like, I'm like, why the like
yeah,
I think part of this is just people are afraid of change.
yeah.
It's like, oh, it's something different. Well, I don't like it. It's evil.
Yeah, I mean, it could just be that situation. It's like, you know, an i3, an i3 CPU, a 13, uh, probably an i3 CPU probably outperforms an i5 or possibly even i7 from 10 years ago. So yeah, I mean, yeah, people just need to wait until
Yeah,
reviewers get their hands on these cards, and we'll see what happens.
yeah. Now, I mean, look, listen. Okay, Nvidia's done some messed up shit, so I'm not going to be like, oh, well, let me white knight them. I'm just saying. I'm just saying that all we have right now are internal specs released by Nvidia, which you never trust. Never trust source material that is from the people who the source material is about. You always look for independent verification. Um, and that's for anything. Okay, like
Yeah,
don't trust.
because
No,
they
go
use
ahead.
one variable, probably one like golden variable, or maybe they have a golden sample card if you're familiar with the lottery. So yeah,
Yeah,
take
it's
this
like the
stuff with a
best
grain of
card they
salt.
can. It's like this is the perfect card. Well, shit. Of course, everything's gonna run well in the perfect setup where everything is perfect. Like it's got the perfect cooling. The games that it's running, it's not running those games for a long time. It like runs them for like the perfect amount of time. Like everything's just perfect. It's like who the fuck has perfect airflow to their PC?
Yeah, yeah,
Like most people I know have shit stacked next to their PC that's obstructing the airflow.
yeah.
That's just. But
Yeah,
I mean,
but
I'm just. Yeah,
so yeah, when you see these measurements, it's under scenarios where every single solitary thing
Is at its
is just
most
right.
favorable. Yeah, it's at
Yeah,
its
it's
most
just
favorable.
right.
Which is why I'm kind of like I want to wait until there's more information. Also, I also don't want to jump onto the I don't want to jump on the bandwagon. Oh well, they did this. Like, look, man, I don't know.
And I understand why people are uneasy. You know, last generation, last couple of years, these cards, with the scalping, with Nvidia making money hand over fist, with
Yeah, but what? But that
this,
wasn't their fault.
yeah,
That's not their fault that crypto came. And remember, as soon as that crypto shit, as soon as people tried to make that into a real thing, it imploded on itself. It's sad.
yeah. But I mean, I understand it wasn't necessarily their fault, but they're gonna be the fall guy. People are gonna look at Nvidia and blame them
Well,
regardless.
Nvidia and AMD, because
AMD too.
both of them were making a lot of money off their cards, and they tried to. They're like, look, we will release versions of these cards that cannot be used for crypto mining, and they did, and they sold like shit because they also weren't very good for gaming either.
Yeah,
And the thing
it,
is like if a gamer has a graphics card and they want to resell it, you can still use a graphics card that after someone used it for gaming. You cannot reuse a crypto card because its shelf life, its half life has been used the fuck up.
yeah.
Because they run those cards hard in crypto mining.
Yep. Yeah,
Like
that's
I don't
true.
care what you do with your graphics cards. It ain't nearly as hard as what crypto mining does to cards. I
Yeah.
guarantee it.
Yeah.
So people need to stop with that. I think, like I said, people are afraid of change, just like everything else.
Yeah.
People are afraid of things that are different and things that don't fit what they like. But stuff has to change. You can't keep on doing the same thing over and over and over again, no matter what. So, do I think that this is gonna, that this is gonna work out? I don't. It could. I don't know. Uh,
Yeah. I mean, who knows? Come October 12th, when all the reviews drop, well, we'll see. We'll see what's going on.
we'll know. We'll know when we know. It's the only
When
thing
we
we can
know.
do. We'll know when we know. Because I can't. Like, I'm not a huge Nvidia fan. Not because I hate Nvidia or anything. I'm just not like, oh my god, Nvidia. I'm like, eh. I mean, to be honest with you, I never, for the longest time, I couldn't afford an Nvidia card
Yeah.
because they were so expensive. And then
Yeah.
when I finally was able to get one, I'm like, I can't really tell the difference. It
Yeah.
all
It's
basically runs pretty much. It does what I need it to do,
yeah.
and that's all I needed. Like I don't. People are like, oh, Nvidia. I'm like, calm the fuck down. Just
I mean, yeah. Of
stop.
course, there are obviously each car has certain features in it, but if you don't need a particular feature, then you're pretty much best. Your best bet is to get what you can afford and hope that does what you need it to do.
Let me put it this way. For me, listening to people bitch about Nvidia and AMD is like people complaining about the Mustang versus a Dodge Charger.
Yeah.
Doesn't fucking matter. They're both fast ass cars. Okay?
Yeah.
Like, who cares? Okay? Like, here's the thing, okay? There are so few games that utilize the full potential of an NVIDIA graphics card that the argument about which is better is fucking moot.
Yeah.
Okay? It's moot.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Okay? It's not like it was like 20 years ago where you had games like well, almost 20 years, like 18, 16, 15 years ago, where you had shit like Crisis, where The graphics card you had really didn't matter, but here was the trick that was pulled on you. The graphics cards that could run Crysis commercially, they still didn't come out until 2 years after the damn game came out, and that was on AMD or Nvidia. It didn't matter, or was it ATS at the time? I can't remember. But anyway, people need to stop with that shit.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my god, it's the it's like, man, calm down. Stop being a bitch. Basically, is that should be the new thing. Calm down, stop being a bitch.
Yeah.
But that's my opinion. That's it. That's all I had to say.
All right. Well, we're in free topic territory. You got a free topic that you like to share?
I do have a free topic. My free topic is this. I wish people would stop manufactured outrage. There's real shit to be outraged about. Why are you outraged about shit that really doesn't concern you and is not an issue?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I mentioned it earlier. Everyone's like, "Oh man, GTA 6 leaked." Yeah, and
Yeah. It's not. Yeah. I just thought because when I first saw the headline, I thought there was actually some real like. I guess the big controversy is that they were hacked, but again, I think it was an inside job. I don't think it was. And people talk it because I don't think a lot of people understand hacking and
normally
the
I would
you know
agree with you. I would agree with you saying that it was an inside job, but they talked to the FBI.
yeah.
And when you talk to the FBI, that's some that probably was a hack job.
Well,
Um,
again,
but to be fair, I mean, let's not forget could it have been hacked due to human personal error? Because remember when the big hack scandal happened at Sony? Because it turned out that people had passwords like Sony 123 as their passwords
oh
at
yeah,
Sony.
yeah,
Like, who's to say that someone didn't have Rockstar 85
yeah.
as their passwords
Yeah,
at Rockstar?
most people are pretty lazy with their passwords because they just want to get into their shit as easily as possible. But
Yeah, and
yeah,
this could all be prevented if people just had the thumb sensor instead of asking people to remember all these fucking numbers. Just like the thumb sensor
exactly.
or your fingerprint. Oh, dude, oh man, that's it. That's all you got to do. And maybe have it re-verify itself every 3 hours or so if someone isn't using it or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like that. That's all you got to do. It's not like why the fuck do you have to make this difficult or give people like a security card like they do in the government where you just use a security card to swipe in. Like, why do you make people go? Why do you make things more difficult than they need to be?
Yeah,
That's my problem.
you just give or you just use a obviously you have your Kensington locks or you have a special like key if you don't want to you have a special
Oh,
like
that's real
thumbtack
old
or
school right there. Internet, yeah, but even if you had an internet, you still need some type of uh, was it a decoder in order to utilize in order to utilize that. So you'd still need some type of password system or a key card or a one of those randomized BitLocker things. Like you'd have to have some form of security. Listen. I've taken back in the day I took classes in internet security, so I understand the idea. Like you're dealing with assets that potentially are worth millions, if not billions of dollars. You need
yeah,
some level of security.
yeah.
I understand that, but but like the way they're going about it, I'm just like, okay, like you know,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, yeah. I mean, the guy on whatever farm site he was on, he was bragging about it, saying, "Yeah, I did all this stuff." It's just that was probably the big part of it was the fact that somebody got in, leaked it out, was bragging about it. Other than that, it's just like this is all just pre developed footage. I don't know. anybody cares. This is like, so the game's not even
I mean,
done
you have
yet.
to remember it's a slow week, so a lot of people are like, "Oh my god, how can you believe?" I'm like, I don't give a shit. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
care.
yeah. I'm not freaking out over wireframes.
I mean,
And
not only that, I just like having look having the last GTA game I was really excited about. 100% the last GTA game where I was like, "Oh man, this is really exciting. Can't believe this." Was GTA Chinatown Wars.
yeah,
And the reason I was excited about that game was because I thought that it was going to be like the story about I thought it was going to be the story of Woozy, the blind guy from GTA San Andreas, and then it was just like it was actually in hindsight that's not a very it was not a bad game. It was actually pretty good, but
yeah.
you know like I was kind of like, oh my god, this is so terrible. I'm like, it's not that bad.
Yeah. Um.
Do
Yeah, I don't.
you
I don't.
have? Uh,
No, surprisingly, I don't have a free topic today. But in any case, like to give your sign out before we call it a day.
Oh yeah, this is Mr. Red Fox, owner proprietor of BS Busters, and I'm always happy to be on someone else's cast because it's just great to not have to run everything yourself, come up with topics, let someone else deal with it for a change.
Yeah,
It's
it's
like,
like going
hey, I'm
to.
just
It's like going to somebody else's house for a party. You don't have to clean up. You just gotta show up, eat, and leave.
yeah, or even better, like someone's driving someplace and you don't have to drive. You can just get in the car and just
Yeah, yeah,
you just hey, you going this way? Yeah, okay. Let me just get in the car with you. We'll ride. That's it. I love that.
yeah,
I love when I don't have to drive. That's all I gotta say. Some people, oh no, I want to drive. No, fuck that. When someone else is doing the driving and I just show up and go, hey, I'll give you gas money, but
yeah,
I don't have to drive. Oh, this is great.
yeah. Exactly.
But that's what I
Well,
like. Anyway, that's it. That's all I had to say.
all right. Well, this is Kanoshi Abominito here with episode 47. Ada the Gold Digger. Um, have a good week. Have a good weekend. Have a good life. Catch you guys later.
All right.